Welcome back everyone to today's video. We're doing your 5th winter update for today's second video. We're not going to waste much time because we've got quite a lot to go through, and I want to keep the video too pretty short so people don't have to spend a load of time watching, but they can still get the amount of information that they need. So I'm going to get straight into this now. We've got quite a bit to show you, all sorts, but we're going to start off with the ECMWF mean sea level pressure anomalies, the weekly ones. High pressure is the orange, low pressure is the blue, if you didn't already know. For week 1 is the 27th of October to the 3rd of November. We're looking like this. We've got high pressure sitting out over to Greenland. And that's week 2, never mind. Alright, yeah, once again, we've got high pressure sitting out to Greenland for week 1. This is the 20th to the 27th of October, by the way. Low pressure over Europe. We've got the winds in from a cool, pretty chilly, quite cold northerly direction. Week 2, which actually is the 27th of October to the 3rd of November, has high pressure over to the Canadian side of Greenland, low pressure dropped over Scandi and the Baltic countries. We've got the winds in from the north or the northeast. Once again, pretty chilly. Week 2. Week 3, maybe getting a bit milder. High pressure still blocking a bit more to the Canadian side. If there's low pressure down here, we might start dragging the wind in from the west. But if there's no, what's happened? There we go. But if there's low pressure sitting here, we could still drag it in around that. But it's probably turning a little bit milder for week 3. Week 4 is the 10th to the 17th of November. It's getting interesting again. A big mid-Atlantic ridge, real blocking feature there. That's extraordinary, really, for November. And over Iceland, low pressure's obviously dropped in over here. We look like we're going to be really cold with that. And I mean, the polar vortex might drop in because the blocking's that strong here. It's probably going to push the low pressure down here. And 10th to 17th of November. That could go very, very cold if that is right. Really interesting charts from the ECMWF today. Week 5 is the 17th to the 24th of November. Once again, we've got a blocking signal to the east of Scandi over Eastern Europe, blocking over Greenland, Iceland, the more mid-Atlantic ridge. Low pressure's dropped in between over Europe. We've got the winds in from the north. Very interesting from the ECMWF. Today, especially from weeks 4 and 5. Week 6 looks like this. Once again, the blocking signal continues and intensifies, really. Low pressure still drops in here, and we've got the winds in from the northeast. 3 weeks of extreme cold, and that's to the 24th of November to the 1st of December. So starting December on a very cold note, if that chart does come off. That's very, very interesting, I've got to say. I wasn't expecting to see that today. Wow. What a start to the winter update that is. Right, now we've got your coral reef things to go through again, like we always do on the winter updates. We're looking for that tripole, of course. Let's move that down there. There we go. Right, so we've got obviously the warmer temperatures are the orange, reds, and the cooler temperatures are the blue and purple. So we've got cooler temperatures around the Pacific at the minute, and that signifies that we've got our weak La Nina signal this year. They can favour colder conditions for Europe. We've got a cooler area in the Indian Ocean, signifying a negative IOD, which can give us some more blocking. And then the main bit what we focus on is over here in the North Atlantic. We have got a little bit of a cooler patch here starting to develop, but we're mostly pretty warm through. We don't want that up through the North Atlantic at the moment. What we want is a tripole. A tripole signifies that we're going to get a lot of tripoles happen just before a very, very cold winter. So what we look for is a big area warm here, a big area warm here, and a big area warm here. But it needs to be a lot colder than this through this area. We need cold here, here, and through here. So we've got the warmer areas, but we're just not quite cold enough through there. But there is still time, and we're going to have a look at the 7-day trend. If we do look at the 7-day trend, these were updated yesterday, by the way, so very, very accurate. So this is the 7-day trend from the 9th to 16th of October. We are warming in the Indian Ocean, so the negative IOD may be weakening a little bit. We're cooling in the North Pacific as well. There's areas of warm and cold, but we're still pretty cool in the Central Pacific, just there. And then in the Atlantic, what we are looking at, we are warming here, what we want for a tripole. We are warm over here, and we are warm up here. So that's all warming like we want it to for a tripole. Then this area is maybe warming a little bit at the minute. We could do with this cooling a little bit more. But this area on the coast is cooling. Over here, this area is cooling. This area is cooling, and this area is cooling. And over here, it's cooling very, very strong in that area. And that is what we want to see, really. Just this area here cooling a lot more. This area is a bit warm at the minute, but these areas are cooling very nicely. And if we continue that trend and keep warming these areas, we could end up developing a tripole, which signifies more of a chance of a colder winter ahead. Very, very interesting. Right, now for the North Atlantic Oscillation. So if you don't know what this is already, when this line, the average line is the black line. So we are here at the minute, and this is the area that is forecasted. So when this line is above the zero line here, it signifies we're in a positive phase. And a positive NAO means we're very unsettled and low pressure dominated in the North Atlantic. But when we get a negative phase like we are forecasted to now, it means that we got a blocking area of high pressure in the Atlantic, which usually means we've got an increased chance of cold. At the moment, which is interesting because this has flipped a bit more than yesterday, we are going negative, and we are going to be negative for the rest of the month. It is forecasting. Yesterday, this was sort of getting to here and then sort of going back up. It was sort of going back up to about there. But today, we're actually keeping it, the average, pretty negative for the whole time to the end of the month. Very interesting. Means we've got an increased chance of cold and blocking for the end of October, early November. Now, we've got some long range for you. Let me zoom this in for you real quick. 1 second. Okay, so we've got the Beijing Climate Center anomalies, and we're going from November to February. So these, once again, the high pressures, the orange, low pressures, the blue, all of that sort of stuff. This is for November. We are looking like this. We've got high pressure over Greenland, Iceland, and a bit over the country. We're probably bringing the wind around the ridge in from a chilly easterly direction, not too cold though. Maybe some colder snaps and milder outbreaks in November. December looks like this. We take the blocking further north and intensify it, and this looks very interesting for December. Maybe a white Christmas. High pressure over Scandi and over Greenland. Low pressure to the south, we're bringing in the easterlies. We're very close to being really cold and unsettled. We are cold, but the low pressure is a bit further to the south, so unless we get some snow events or time, there probably will be times in the month where the high pressure does go further north, the low pressure drops in, and we do get some more snow. That was January, that was December, so December looking quite cold from the Beijing Climate Center. Once again, this might not come off, it is just a bit of fun. Long range is long range. It is what it is. This is January in 2026 now, mid-Atlantic ridge, maybe weak low pressure around Greenland, maybe a little bit of a sign of blocking there. We're probably bringing the wind around that from a northwesterly or something like that. And February, we're looking very interesting for February if you're looking for some cold. High pressure sitting over Greenland, Iceland, low pressure has dropped in. Also a block over Scandi. Winds in from a beast from the east type easterly with a really deep area low pressure as well, so snow showers and snow events piling in. Right, and finally, we have got some stratospheric data for you. We've got to keep an eye on this, because if we do get a warming, then we can increase the chance of colder conditions, especially if we get an SSW or a split of the polar vortex as well. So, this is the polar vortex, the big blue area over at the pole. And for warm areas, we want green and yellow sort of around the edges. breaking the polar vortex down, that sort of thing. This is a bit of fun at the minute because obviously we're not going to see much until probably late November, December, at least. We might not see anything at all, but you do have to keep an eye on it. So off we go. Polar vortex starts to strengthen this week. We do get actually a little warming there. That's unusual for the time of year, a warming, and that actually weakens the polar vortex a little bit and keeps it weaker than average for the time of the year. In the extended range, we do actually intensify that warming a little bit. We get another one going by the end. It's quite interesting for the time of the year. We're keeping the polar vortex a little bit displaced over Europe, but it is getting in business a little bit. But the warmings are pretty unusual for the time of the year over this area, so we'll have to just keep an eye on that. Anyway, we are done for your 5th winter update. We'll have more and different charts for your next winter update. Don't know when that will be. Probably pretty soon, early next week. Won't be tomorrow because we have just done a winter update. We don't want to do too much because there's no point. Right, we are closing in on 1,300 subscribers, only 30 off. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It helps a lot. These videos do take quite a long time. Planning and all that stuff. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next updates and future videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.